BookTube Nation, I'm Sam here again with A Bear and a Bee Books, and today I'm here to wrap up my Fairytaleathon for you. I hope that some of you were able to join us and that you enjoyed it as much as I did. I had so much fun working with all of my wonderful co-hosts on this project, and I hope to have another one here again sometime in the future. I'll go ahead and link down below all their channels. I worked with the wonderful Becky, the fascinating Erica, the enthusiastic Jordan, and the lovely Alex. Definitely go check them all out. They're absolutely wonderful. So I was able to finish 3 things for the readathon, which I consider a win with a baby at home. So I really enjoyed the things that I was able to get to. First, I guess I'll go in order. I read Geekerella by Ashley Poston, and that was one that was so hyped, and I hadn't gotten around to it yet. I'm actually really bad about that. If a book is too hyped, I'll put it aside and read it later. I don't typically like reading books during the hype. I like to form my own opinions, and I read more unknown authors and things like that. But I do like to get to some of the big books because they're so beloved for a reason. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a cross between YA contemporary and fairy tale retelling. I thought that it was really seamlessly done, how the aspects of the original fairy tale were implemented in the retelling. I liked the characters. I thought overall that the plot was, you have to suspend some belief, but I thought that it was fairly believable. And I loved the addition of the food truck. That was just, it's not a spoiler because it's on the front of the cover, but it's like the food truck becomes the pumpkin. And I thought that that was really cleverly done. I love Cinderella. Cinderella is probably one of my favorite original fairy tales. I love the idea of being in a bad situation and, things look really bleak and impossible, and then you eventually overcome that. That's always a wonderful story. It's kind of like the underdog story in a way, which I'm a big fan of. And I like that the villains in Cinderella are so personal. It's one thing to have someone you don't know harm you, or have somebody that is outside of your circle attack you. But when it's your own family, that's just a complete different kind of villain. So I always found Cinderella really interesting. Next, I read the group book, which was Sea Witch. And this is by Sarah Henning. I absolutely love this book. I love all Little Mermaid retellings, though. I love pretty much anything about mermaids. I wanted to be a mermaid when I was a kid. My dad was a fisherman when I was a baby, and I guess part of that just translated to me. I love the ocean. I grew up on the side of a river. There was a house, but river adjacent. But anyway, I love the water. I could swim before I could walk pretty much. So anyway, I love this book. I also have a small love affair with the Nordic countries, and this book was set in the Nordic countries, and it was just beautifully done. I thought that though you had to kind of obviously suspend some disbelief there. There was kind of a twist in the romance towards the end, which, I was a little but for me, it didn't change my rating at all. I gave it 5 stars because I think that for me, at least when I was younger, my emotions ran really high, and I ended up marrying a very good friend of mine, so I could see how maybe that could go down, but no names because no spoilers. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. I think if you like fairy tales, if you like The Little Mermaid, if you like Scandinavia, I would definitely recommend this book. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I look forward to reading it again in the future. I did read mine via audiobook, and I thought that the narrator did a great job. I used the one off of my Scribd account, so I would highly recommend. And finally, I read a fairy tale out of the Brown Fairy book by, it's like a compilation of fairy tales by Andrew Lang. I read Asmund and Signy. It's an Icelandic fairy tale. Let me see if I can show you. Beautiful artwork, if that'll focus. I really enjoyed it. It was quick. It was kind of like all fairy tales where you know what's going to happen. In the end, it followed the traditional fairy tale writing, but it was enjoyable. I enjoyed, there's a lot of mentions of trees and kind of living more in nature in that fairy tale, and I liked it. And in the end, of course, the heroes get their happily ever after and the villains get their demise, but it was good. I don't think I've read any Icelandic fairy tales before, and like I mentioned earlier, I kind of have a thing for Scandinavia, so for the Out Your Own Front Door challenge, I was happy to pick up an Icelandic one. So those were the things that I read for Fairytaleathon. I hope you were able to join us, and if we're able to do this again, I hope that you'll be able to join us for the second Fairytaleathon. So again, I just want to thank all my wonderful co-hosts. I had a wonderful time doing this, and I look forward to seeing everyone again. If this is your first time on my channel, please go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and hit the little bell to get notifications when I post new videos. Also, please feel free to follow me on Twitter or friend me on Goodreads. I love to meet with other people who have similar interests, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for being here with me. Farewell for now. Bye-bye. I read the